Good morning. Thanks for joining today. I'm super excited. I see a lot of new faces. So if you don't know me, I'm Sydnee. I am the slay of the hustle and slay. But what I do here is I really just try to, I said I'm Sydnee too, and it says Jessica Green. So I'm the other Jessica Green, the dark haired Jessica Green. What I do here is share all things social media. Just a little bit of a background. Before I was an entrepreneur, I worked at Dollar Tree for 10 years. So I like to share that because I think it's important for people to know that like I wasn't the person that was like all over social media, like having viral videos or, that kind of stuff before this. Similar to, I'm sure a lot of people here just use social media to like stalk other people or scroll and troll, if you will. I never used it for a business, but when I saw what was capable and what's possible with social media and how far you can go, I just took it to another level. And so everything I share here with you guys every single Wednesday, or maybe some of the stuff you see on our YouTube channel or on our podcast, like previous, is all just things that I've learned in my journey of working on social media. It's never things that I think that, like, for a lot of people, they hear something and they're like, oh, that's what I need to do. This is just my opinion, things that have worked for me. And I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I will try things 1,000 times before I ever recommend them to other people because I'm very results driven. If it doesn't work, I'm not sharing it. But everything I have tried and everything that I do talk about is just things that I do. And I'm a true believer in always leading with, I practice what I preach. I never say like, hey, go do this. And I don't do it myself. Right. Or if I do, I'll call myself out. So don't worry. But some of the things that you'll hear me share here, again, it's not all things that you have to implement into your life, like maybe take with a grain of salt and use some of them. But also just remember, like, I'm me, Shar, Jojo's Jojo, Jess is Jess. Like, always take a little bit of what we have and then turn it into your own, because one of the things that, it's all the way at the bottom of my notes, but like one of the most important things to think about when it comes to social media is being yourself, being authentically you. I think so many times I see people like make a post, and I'm sure we can all like think of a person or a post or a time right now, but like when you see somebody make a post and you're like, that's not how they talk, or you're like, that they didn't write that, that's not like even something near what they would say, right? And it just kind of like irks me when people do that, because I feel like they don't have faith in their own authenticity. And you want to attract, like, we are in this huge world of social media, right? I don't know how many people, I think it's like 2.6 billion people every single day log on just Facebook alone. So in that, realm of people, you're not going to be for everyone. Not everybody's going to want to follow you all the time or agree with what you say, and that's fine. But you're looking for the people that you do jive with, like your vibe, your tribe. In that being said, it helps a lot more when you show up authentically as yourself, whatever makes you feel comfortable when you're doing things. Like when I go live, and I know a lot of people are always like, well, what if you say something wrong when you're going live? Like, one of my key things to doing that is I'll just crack a joke, or I'll just say like, oops, I just accidentally did that. Like, I don't try, it's a part of my like what people know me for, right? Like they always know if I do something on live that just like happens on accident, I just crack a joke out of it. And I'm like, oh, well, that just happened. Oh, well, or Zane running in. I remember one time I was going live and he was yelling at me to come wipe him. And I was like, really, Zane? Like, we're on Facebook Live. I think everybody just heard that. So that's me, right? That's authentically me. And I feel like if I didn't do things like that, people would be like, what's going on? And I know I've told this story before, but I see some new faces. And when you start doing stuff like that and showing up that way, you get this tribe of people. And I remember, like, I want to say it was like 2 years ago, I went live and I shared it into a bunch of groups, and like a random lady out of nowhere, because Zane was like crying about something. At this time, he was like 3. And I don't know, they say terrible 2s, but I think the 3s were the hardest for me. At 3, he was like crying, and this lady comments in the live. She's like, you need to get your kid and not have him crying. That's so unprofessional. Before I could even say anything, everybody on my social media was like after this lady. I didn't even have to say anything to her. So you build this tribe on social media by authentically showing up as yourself. And whatever that looks like for you, I just want to help you tailor that. And I want to just help you. Like, one of my key mottos is to just help people confidently be themselves. Don't try to be anybody else. Like the worst thing that you can do for your confidence is try to be like somebody else. And I love, love, love. Thank you all for letting me start at 9 too. I really appreciate that. It's changed my life. But I love the fact that, we can show up here and we can start our mornings together, because that is so important. It's so important for your social media. It's so important for your confidence. That's why I absolutely love starting my day like this, because then I just feel like I have a better rest of my day. Probably why you see me go live a lot in the mornings, because it just sets the rest of my day up for success for me personally. So a little bit what I want to talk about today is preparing your social media for the next level. And I think this is a perfect time when people are getting back into school. Summer's over. So, well, I don't know if it's over. Sorry, I don't want to say that like that. It's almost over. I'm holding on by a thread. I feel like what's her name on the Titanic, and it's the summer's Jack. I'll never let go. So as we're getting back to routines though, and less parties and less get-togethers and all that kind of stuff, it's like everybody's kind of just like preparing for this next level. And I kind of like to call it like a revamp, where you can go and like change things. And a lot of the things I wanted to talk about today that I was thinking were more like plan, do, review. And I get that from Eric Worre from the GoPro. His book's incredible. We need to make a book list. I was thinking about that the other day, Jess, for the group, because all the time we're shouting out books, and then I have people messaging me and I'm like, wait, which book did I recommend? I can't remember, because I love them all. But I thought a lot of plan, do, review. And, one thing I wanted to talk about, but I did last week, was the plan part. So if you weren't here last week, you can revert back to the YouTube channel. It's on there. I think we have that pinned in the group, but even our podcast, we're going to revamp that so that if you're on the go, you can listen. But last week we kind of talked all goals and like, what's your plan on social media? So I'm not going to do so much of that today. I want to do more of the review and do, because again, I'm very results driven, and I don't know if you're that way, but I would encourage you to try to be that way, because without doing something and getting some kind of results, how are you going to plan, do, review? I hear so many people, because I am a live pusher, if you will. I'm always pushing people, go live, go live, go live. I think it's like what's best for your business on social media, even if it's not, all the time, but like it helps you with your confidence with so many things. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I really don't want to do that. Or my favorite is when they say, I don't like doing that, but I'm like, but I've never seen you do it. It's like when I try to get Zayd to eat something. Well, I don't like that. I'm like, but you've never tried it. I'm probably a little tougher with him. I'm like, open your mouth, try this now. But he always tries it. And I say, thanks for trying it. So that's my thing. If you try it and, and I would say, don't just do it once, try it more than one time. I will not lie to you guys at all. Every time I go live, I'm nervous. I'm scared I'm going to say something stupid, because I, like everyone else, have things going on in my head. I sweat so bad when I go live. It's like insane. I am not superhuman. Okay. I just know for my motivation and my discipline, because I'm very disciplined when it comes to things. And I know for my business, like when I have some of my customers this last month of kind of just being like a little on and off, because we had a lot going on in life. I had customers, I had teammates, I just had random people on social media. They're like, are you okay? We miss your lives. Like, even when we went live the other day in the car, everybody's like, we miss you, Haas. And I was like, babe, they miss you. So you can't have that point of review though, if you're not doing. So some of the stuff I want to talk to you about today is just like preparing for the next level. And I don't want you to like spend too much time with the stuff we're going to talk about today, but you can just look at some of your social media and just quickly say, yeah, that's not working, or I need to change that, or I need to do that. And so I want to talk first about just reviewing your account. And I know a couple weeks ago, we did like audits. We did more of like Instagram audits, but I would say for any platform, and let's specifically just talk Facebook, because I think that's where most people are more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Why am I brain farting today? I feel like that's where they show up more. Yeah, y'all. Like when you look up squirrel in the dictionary, do you just see my face? Squirrel. So when was the last time you went through your own account, right? I know most of the time we spend a lot of time on other people's account, but one thing I think about, and going back to like working at Dollar Tree for 10 years, I used to hire people. And and I don't hate to say this, but there was a big thing for first impression on me. Like when people came in, right? If they came in for their interview and they just looked like, a nightmare, the likelihood of me hiring them was very slim. And I know some people will say it's Dollar Tree, like who cares? But I cared because I didn't want a team of people who didn't care either. So it was important to me that like people looked nice, they showed up nice, they showed up on time, they, had the things that they needed to have, they had questions. Same thing when it comes to your social media. If you're adding people, let's say consistently.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm good, Steve, thank you. I don't know why I muted everyone on entry, but it still doesn't do that. So hi, Steve. I think about not even when you're adding, like, let's just set aside because you should be adding new people every day. It's like one of my major DMOs for the day. But like, let's say, you're engaging with other people and they come to your page. When you go look at your page, would you want to join you in anything in life? Would you want to comment on your stuff? Would you want to engage with your stuff? Would you want to be a part of that tribe and vibe, right? So there's a couple things you can think of, right? And we did some of them last week, but for example, like your cover photo, like for me, right? I tend to have midlife crises and dye the front of my hair blonde once in a while. Is your picture like more recent? Or like sometimes I see people like their pictures from like a long time ago, 10 or 15 years ago, right? And they don't even look like the same person anymore. Is that something you can switch up? Your cover photo, is it something that you can switch up, right? Is it something that doesn't align with what you're doing anymore? And I recommend to people, like, because I get this question a lot, how often should you change that? I don't know the answer to that. There really is no answer. I just do it when I feel like I'm aligning with the next thing, or when I get family pictures done, whatever comes sooner. But like, it's usually every 6 months for me, because it's a piece of content that will start posting up to your page. It's a piece of content that you can use all the time. So look at that. Look at your most recent post, okay? Your most recent post. Maybe you don't have a recent post. So that's what you can review. Maybe you're like, oops, I haven't posted in like 6 days. And that's why I push so much too, just sitting down and maybe just looking through it and saying, when you go back to your goals, like, okay, I just want to consistently post. And whatever consistency looks like to you, it doesn't have to be every single day, but whatever it looks like to you. And the best way to start that on a very easy note, every Monday morning, Sunday night, when you're laying in bed, go on Pinterest, search motivational quotes, grab a quote. You can even just grab the quote picture. I try to tell people more often than less to use a picture of themselves, even if it's with a cheesy quote, who cares? But start your week off like that. Then Monday morning, boom, you've got to post up immediately. You got the rest of the week to like figure out the difficult stuff, right? And think about like some of the things that aren't relevant anymore on your social media. Like when we were talking about last week or a couple weeks ago about your profile, like if you've got all the things in your bio about like how you, every single job you've had in the last like 10 years, does it have any relevancy to your business now or to what you're trying to do on social media? I know for a lot of people, like they want to show their work history, and that's fine. But like, if you've got like 14 jobs on there, like all the way back down to your first job is like at McDonald's and you've got that in there, like, is it relevant? For example, I keep my Dollar Tree on there, like former assistant manager at Dollar Tree, because I like people to see that now I work a business fully online, but I came from retail management. It has relevancy to my business and my brand on social media. So there's some things too, you might want to spice up when it comes to just looking at your page. Maybe it's that little bio part. You want to switch some stuff up once in a while, right? Maybe some things have changed. Or maybe you, I know Erin came up with this building badassery. And I was like, yeah, change that. That's super sweet. Like maybe you just come up with something savvy once in a while that you want to go switch it up. Like that's okay to do. Sometimes you got to spice things up, make it just a little bit more appealing to the eye. It's like when I tell you guys about TJ Maxx, that place overwhelms me because it's not organized. I know people are always like, TJ Maxx. I'm like, how do you shop there? Like it literally gives me anxiety right when I walk in. I need things to be a little bit more organized for me. I'm always on a mission when I'm shopping too though. So, okay. Reviewing just some of those things basically on your profile. I recommend doing that, every couple months, just because sometimes you'll sit and you'll go, oh my gosh, I haven't gone live since that that was for me. I reviewed my social media the beginning of this month and I was like, oh, I haven't gone live since the middle of August. Like people are probably sending out Batman signals looking for me. And sometimes I don't know about you guys, that's what I need sometimes is like a personal gut check where I go like, oops, you're not showing up consistently enough for you, for what your goals are and for what your goals and business and brand. My brand is live videos. That's what my brand is. So when I don't do them, I'm like, Sydnee, you're pulling away from your brand, from what you're known for doing, right? I don't know about you guys, but I go to Char's page all the time to see whatever she's canning or cooking or farming or gardening, because that's like a part of her brand. And when I see that, I think of her instantly. Which, by the way, I need to learn how to can, but we'll say that for another day. Have you reviewed your authority on social media lately? And I do this every time. You guys probably, if you've ever followed any of my lives or anything like that, like, and I think when people hear reviewing your authority, it's different than what I'm going to say. Don't get on there and be like, this is my page, but you can in a different way. Something very simple as going, and what I like to do every time, hey, it's your girl Sydnee coming to you live from Michigan. We get the assumption that everybody coming onto our page knows us, knows what we do for business, knows our kid, knows our sisters, uncles, moms, dog's name. Like, they don't though. They don't. Not everybody is seeing your stuff all the time. Not everybody is watching all your lives. Not everybody is paying attention to what's going on in your life. So when you get on, think of a way that is going to allow people to let them know who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, why they should follow you, join you. And that's just a simple, like, think of something very, I remember Kelly Hawkins did a great one. She would hop on and go, hey, it's your girl Kelly Hawkins, your favorite holistic nurse. Think of something that's like catchy, but also just as something that you can say every single time. Hey, and I don't even care if it's, hey, it's your girl. That's fine. That's why I was like, I can't think of anything savvy with Sydnee, but I was just like, hey, it's your girl Sydnee. And that just clicked for me. It was easy. It's something I remember to say every time, but I'm introducing myself instead of hopping on and going. And again, this is just something I've learned in my day. Like, I'll hop on and be like, well, remember last week when I told you guys about this? And it's like, but if you just added Brianna yesterday, she don't remember last week. She wasn't on your page. And I highly doubt she went through your lives and was like, oh, last week Sydnee was moving, so this week, that's why she went live. Like, not a lot of people are doing that, okay? So I think it's super important to have the mindset that when you're getting on, it's almost like an introduction every single time. A couple things I think about when you're doing it is like in your stories, right? So many times we jump in our stories, and that's why I love starting my stories in the morning. Like Jasmine, she's walking and she's just kind of talking. So many times we jump in our stories and like, how many lawns is there to mow? We jump in our stories and we're like, oh, hey, yesterday I did this, or, we don't even say like who we are, or what we're doing. Think about that every time you're putting your face somewhere. Nobody knows you. Just even if it's, hey, good morning, whatever it might be. Sometimes we just hop into the middle of the book, but no one's picked up the book yet. So they're like, what's going on, right? And the last thing you want to ever do on social media is be unfollowed or unfriended. It's very hard to get that person back once they've done it, right? So you want to try to keep people engaged. And that's why I think reviewing your authority is super easy way to just even get people to get to know you and build a brand. So if you're on there going, hey, it's Carol, good morning, I'm out, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm going to see my sister JoJo. And then just every single day thinking about it as if you were just meeting that person, as if you were just walking up to that person and they really didn't know much about you. You can do it in lives, right? Like I was just saying, in posts. I would recommend, if you have not done some kind of introductory post lately, I'll tell you guys to do one of those probably every 90 days. Something very simple. Hey, I'm Kristen. This is 3 things about me. Tell me something cool about you. I do those like every 3 months, y'all. And I'm pretty consistent on my Facebook, and I'm still impressed with the amount of people who forget that I'm a blonde. And the things that start on those posts every single time people are PMing me, they're like, I need to see a picture of you blonde. I don't believe you. But it just starts conversations, because there are people, again, that have not picked up the book, and you're in the middle of the book trying to start them from there, right? Or it's like when you start the middle of the movie and you're asking all these questions because you really have no idea what's going on because you didn't start from the beginning. So every 90 days, just do a simple introductory post, or where you say a couple things about you and your life. It might sound boring to you, but it's not boring to someone else. We get so caught up in that thinking, and this is a part of your confidence. You're not boring. No one here is boring. You just think you're boring. You just think what you have is like basic stuff. It is not. Each of us here have something that we could share with someone. You all have something you can contribute to another person. Just pull your head out and say, what's 3 things about me, 3 cool things about me that no one would know? And just do a simple introductory post. Hey, I'm Shar. This is what I do. And imagine the amount of people that will come and ask you questions. And again, this is something that when you go back to review, don't do it one time and be like, Sydnee lied. She told me I was going to get questions. I did it one time. That's like the people who go to the gym and they're like, oh, I don't have a 6-pack. I'm not going back. Like, it just doesn't work that way. That's not how anything works. You've got to do it for a while. Give it some effort. Those types of things will help shape your brand too. And that's really what you want. You want people to come to your page and message you and say, hey, you haven't gone live in a while. Like, are you okay? We're sending out Batman signals. Are you there? Or what's going on? My favorite, when we moved again, everybody's like, you guys moved again? I'm like, yeah, we're building a good brand here, Haas. We got people tripping. The amount of people who were like, you just moved. I'm like, yeah, I know. Believe me, I know. But it also helped me realize I am showing up consistently in my brand the way I want to, because I have people asking questions. What's going on? What happened to the lake house, right? Created all these questions. Couple ways too that you can do things that will help you in this reviewing your authority is, again, when you're going live, and I know it's not for everybody, but I recommend it a lot. The perfect way is just starting that introduction, and start doing it in your stories consistently. That little introduction, like, good morning, this is what I do, right? That's why I told you guys last week, I'm getting back on my grind with my gratitude every morning. It didn't matter if people knew me or not. They were messaging me going, I really appreciate watching you do gratitude every day. I started doing it too. It's you building a brand. It's also you creating consistency. Well, I don't know what the term is with the habit thing, or how many days you have to do it for, or whatever. But you're creating consistency and discipline in yourself and your business, which if you keep showing up, life is going to give you. But if you quit, or if you say that didn't work, then you're just back at square one all the time. You never gave it enough time, never gave it enough consistency or discipline. Another reason, obviously, that I love lives more than anything, you can do all of those things that I was just talking about your life, giving an introductory. Maybe, a couple of weeks ago, I was telling you guys, like, go live and just update people on like what's going on in your life. We, again, get in this assumption where we think everybody knows what's going on all the time. No, they don't. I don't know what's going on half the time in people's lives. I mean, even Jess lives down the street, and half the time we're like, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Like, sometimes you just have to, hey, I'm here. This is what I'm doing. This is what's going on in my life. I bet you, if you even went live and said, hey, I have an online business, someone would go, I didn't know you have an online business. Just because they're not looking at your stuff all the time. We have to get that out of our heads and almost introduce ourselves every time, like you're walking up to somebody in Target and they don't know anything about you, your business, your life. They don't know you're married. They don't know you have kids, any of that, right? And you can do all that in a live so much easier than you can in a post. Again, another reason I'll always favor lives. Because a post, right? How many times you guys see like really long posts and you just keep going? That's me. I'm sorry. I try to read it, but then I scroll out and I hear something or see something, get a notification, and I'm out. So that's why I like lives. I can set a live down, listen to it for a little bit, learn a little bit more about you. And I'm not saying it has to be crazy. I think Kristen did like a 2-minute live the other day. I loved it. It was fast to the point. I got kind of fingal whatever in her hand. I was like, what kind of word is that? But it was fast, it was to the point. She got it out. It was perfect. It's consistency, it's discipline. Doesn't matter. I'm not saying you have to go live every single day for 10 minutes. Y'all, half the time when I go live, I can't even believe I talked for 10 minutes. So if you can just go and start doing it consistently, maybe give them a little, hey, this is what's going on in my life today. Here's where I'm at. Here's my business. And stay away from things like, I know I haven't gone live in a while. Brianna, who just met you yesterday and started the book, she just picked up the book. You're in the middle. She doesn't know you haven't gone live in a while. You don't need to throw yourself under the bus like that. Or, hey, I know I haven't been showing up consistently. Don't worry about that stuff. That's what's making you fearful of showing up, because you feel like everybody knows that you're not showing up consistently. They don't. Maybe there's one Debbie out there watching. Who cares? Let her go on her own. But most people are not going, oh my gosh, Shar hasn't showed up in a while. I'm keeping a tally on her. She sucks. They're not doing that. I promise you. You're doing that to yourself. And the only person that's hurting is you and your brand and your consistency. Show up every single day like you showed up yesterday. Show up every single day like you showed up confidently, whether you are or you aren't. I'm sweating right now. I'm always sweating when I'm doing stuff like this. It makes me nervous. but it just helps me every single time I do it. I'm like, but did you die? Nope. Cool. Check. We're going to do it again. You like train your brain that you can do it. It's not that hard. It sucks. And I have this talk with Zane every morning when he's like, I don't want to go to school. I'm like, dude, when I pick you up from school every day, you jump in the car. I had the best day ever. And then I remind him, remember when you were crying this morning, you didn't want to go, you didn't want to do it, but you did it. Same thing here. Just show up because then you just did it, right? And so a couple things I want you to think about as you do this, like relaunch and revamp. Like even now, I'm like, oh my gosh, 9:27. I talk a lot. When you do this revamp, 3 things, okay? 4 things. I don't know why I always do this to myself. 5 things. Number 1, in the next couple days, I want everyone in here, I'm going to create a thread in the Hustle and Grow or Hustle and Slay page. And if you don't do it, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll do something, okay? No, do it. Just do it for yourself, okay? Do it for yourself. Do some kind of introductory post, introductory live, where you're just kind of like, hey, this is me. This is what I do. This is what I like. And I'm going to create like a little thread in the Hustle and Slay saying, hey, did you do your post? Maybe we can like put the links for it and people can come support. Like, I'd love that. But just do something, because remember, over the summer, people have been busy. Things have changed in your life. Maybe, just who knows, right? Share what you're comfortable sharing, but get on and do that, either a live or a post. If you do a post, I would like to see you do some other type of live this week. Whatever you want to do, even if it's a minute or 2 long, that's fine. Just rip that Band-Aid off, because if you keep showing up every Wednesday, because I'm gonna keep saying live until I go blue in the face. Every single Wednesday, live, 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 live. I might even get something back here, like a light that says live, so you guys can see it all the time. If you don't ever rip the Band-Aid off, the wound is gonna get infected, and then we're gonna have to cut it, right? I don't know why I have the weirdest analogies, but rip the Band-Aid off and just get started. Just get started, because I promise you, it's going to be a lot easier to get started now than if you do it like 10 days, 10 years, 10 months down the road. I've been pushing lives for 3 years and they have not gone anywhere since. They have stuck around, and I might be talking to the same people I talked to 3 years ago, still saying it. Rip the Band-Aid off. I will come rip it off for you. Remember these, okay? Content is king, but it's not everything. Consistently marketing yourself and your brand is queen. And we got a bunch of queens here. So don't trip so much about the content. To me, it's about showing up. It's not necessarily the content that you have to offer. Sometimes I get on live and I don't even know what the heck I'm talking about, but it's just the delivery of it, okay? Just remember that it's showing up. So get that out of your head that you have to have the best content, because not all of us do all the time. It's not always rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes you just got to get it out there and get started. Number 2 is practice is your best friend. Practice, practice, practice. People always ask why I like to FaceTime. I never really used to like to FaceTime, but that's what got me comfortable seeing myself on a screen. But again, if you don't ever click the live button, you're always going to have this fear of, should I do it? Can I talk about the right things? Blah, blah. Worst case scenario, if you get on there and you vomit because you're so nervous, you can delete it. It's social media. It's fine. You might be living in the viral world somewhere else, but you can get it off your page, okay? Practice is king. Number 3 is run experiments of what works and what doesn't. Again, you can't even practice anything if you're not saying, oh, that worked or that didn't. So that's why I recommended a nice introductory post. See how it works with your engagement. See if there's people that are like, and that's why I try to create things that will make people go, oh, I didn't know that about her. That's cool. Or have a call to action. Like, tell me one thing that's like nobody knows about you. So it creates people that get to tell you stuff, and you can go back and be like, oh, I didn't know that about you. And then number 4, which I believe is the best one, follow us in the Hustle and Slay group and on our podcast. We'll continue to deliver really good content to you guys that will help you show up. And just like I said in the beginning, my motto in life is to help people just be confidently themselves. However you may show up, but just as yourself in a confident way, because there's no one better than you that's going to tell your story. Remember that. No one knows your story. If you get on, you accidentally like go a left turn in your own story, and maybe you're actually talking about a show from Netflix. No one knows that. That would actually be kind of cool. But no one knows if you mess up. I remember in choir, I'm going to leave you guys with this. In choir in school, I used to be in choir. I cannot remember anything ever, not even songs really. So my choir teacher would tell me to stand in the back and just say watermelon, because no one would know if I forgot the words. So I remember one time, a whole song, I was just like, watermelon, watermelon. No one knew. No one knew except for me and her. Okay. So if you got to just do what you got to do, you're the best storyteller of your own story. No one knows it, but I'm going to tell you this. If you don't start telling it, no one's going to know it. And there is going to be someone like me, and I'm just being tough love with you because I love you guys and I believe in you. I will show up imperfectly every single day. And there is people like me that will continue to show up imperfectly because we're just showing up. Then there's going to be people that sit and go, ooh, I don't know if I can do it yet, but there's someone showing up. So just go do it. Rip that Band-Aid off. It will be so successful for your brand and your business. And if you can plan, I believe you guys do plan to continue to run a business online, you do want to start creating a brand, and you can start today. I don't care if you've been doing your business for 10 years, you can start today and start consistently showing up today. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thanks for joining me. As always, we'll get this recording up and in the page, and I'll create that thread if you guys go do your introductory post, or if you guys have any questions, you can always message me, you know where to find me. Love you. See you next time.